Hey guys, I'm really sorry about the delay in this fanfiction. Hopefully people still want to watch it. I'm really sorry that it took me so long. There's a bunch of stuff that had come up in my life that had prevented me from doing it. I know it's been a very long time, but hopefully you guys will watch this and enjoy it. So let's get on to Chapter 5. If you want to read along, I have the link down in the description, which you can follow, and also the link to Revolcram, or whatever name they're going by this time, also down there. So have fun. Sunlight streamed through the curtains, rousing the young kitsune from his sleep. Yawning, Tails rolled over onto his other side and opened his eyes, drowsily rubbing them. He had an odd feeling, like something wasn't right. Slowly the events of the previous day seeped through the fog of sleep in his brain, and he sat upright in his bed, clutching at his head in confusion. Questions stuffed his head, far too many for him to think straight. Tails rose from his bed, a rushing dizziness instantly taking him over, causing him to fall against the large wooden cupboard that stood against the wall. His stumble against it created much more noise than he would have liked, and his entire body froze in fear of someone downstairs coming up to ask him why he'd fallen on it in the first place. He just wanted to be left alone, at least for a while, as he got his head straight and his thoughts organized. He headed for the bathroom, his steps a little stumbled. The dizziness was still lingering in his head, and he walked close to the wall to avoid falling into anything else. He reached the bathroom, closing the door behind him quietly. The huge mirror hung in front of him. His reflection was perfectly normal, a little bit sleep-starved, but other than that, as ordinary as ever. Nobody would be able to tell what happened the previous day, would they? Sighing at the possibility of more questions, Tails pulled off his clothes and stepped into the shower, turning the knob for water. The hot water splashed down on his body in large, bullet-like drops. So many they felt like one wave. Tails lifted his head to let it fall on his face. The heat was relaxing, the water covering him like a warm hug. He remained standing there for a while, almost able to forget all the problems and complications in his life right now. Eventually he washed himself down and stepped out, almost forgetting to switch off the water. The room seemed silent, eerily silent, with the gentle whooshing sound of it. His wet fur felt uncomfortably heavy as he pulled a soft, thick towel around his waist and made his way back into his room. Tails dried himself slowly, rubbing each part of his body several times over. His fur was dry and fluffy afterwards. He smoothed it down as best he could before searching through the closet for some clothes. Eventually he picked out his neatest light blue jeans and a smart yet casual white shirt. He dressed quickly, walking over to his bedroom mirror to make any adjustments. He straightened his shirt collar and smoothed down his hair, grunting in frustration as the three bangs, which refused to smooth down, simply springing back into shape every time, as if laughing at his attempts to flatten them. Tails sighed and gave up, checking one last time that he was neat and presentable. Then he headed downstairs. He decided against breakfast and only entered the kitchen to tell his parents where he was going. "I'm going next door to see Sonic." His parents barely looked up to nod at him. He was always spending time at Sonic's house, and because he'd never worry his parents by going without telling them, it became routine for them to be told when Tails was heading out the door. Tails walked towards the door, smoothing his hair one more time, checking his image in the hall mirror. Then he opened the door, strolling down their front path until he came to the end, taking a sharp U-turn around the hedge that separated his front yard with Sonic's, and traveling back up in a simpler pathway that led up to Sonic's front door. He rapped on it lightly with his knuckle, standing back and waiting for an answer. It wasn't who he wanted it to be. "Hello, Tails, honey," Sonic's mother said. She treated Tails as a second son, and Tails' mother did the same with Sonic. Is Sonic in?" Tails asked, looking over his shoulder hopefully. "No, Sonic's not feeling well at the moment." "Oh, did he say why?" "I think he said something about something that happened yesterday. Made him feel unwell. Do you know anything about that?" Tails' heart pounded, blood beating in his head. He was fine yesterday. I don't know why he'd say that." Sonic's mother made a sound in her throat, making Tails nervous in case she knew something. "It's school tomorrow, isn't it?" she sighed. "I bet he's trying to get a day off." "Will he be coming to school tomorrow?" "Yeah, even if I have to drag him there myself. I'm not falling for that trick anymore." "Oh, well, thanks anyway. Bye." Tails waved at her briefly before running back home, trying not to cry. He was not going to cry. Not again. Sonic was avoiding him. Why would he say that something from yesterday made him feel ill? Did it really? Maybe it's just like everyone else, hating gays. He found Tails disgusting. Thinking about it made him sick. He'd never speak to Tails again. He'd end up telling someone about it. His mother, she seemed to know that the two of them were hiding something. What if he'd told her? "Sonic! How could you? Why won't you see me just for a minute? Even if you really don't feel the same way, then why'd you kiss me and say all that stuff and act like you cared about me?" Miserably entering his own dull, empty house, he trudged back upstairs and into his room, throwing himself on his bed face down, curling up with his pillow hugged to his chest. He tried hard to fall back to sleep. It would pass some time anyway. Someone knocked on his door once, but the noise seemed distant. Tails was already being pulled into a deep slumber. Cool grass swaying in an equally cool breeze. The sun was warm, but it didn't feel like daytime. Tails couldn't see anything. He opened his eyes and was surprised when they were met with a purpley blue swirly pattern, and a large round shape, bright light illuminating the sky. The sky? Tails tried to shift position but was held by something. He heard a small chuckle and then some words. Hey, where you going? Stay there. Tails' blue eyes blinked in astonishment. He shifted sideways slightly and was delighted to see Sonic's face close to his own. The hedgehog's arms wrapped around one of his shoulders, holding him tightly. Sonic? But your mom said you weren't going... You're blabbling. Sonic murmured in a tuneful voice, grinning warmly. He loosened his grip to let Tails sit up and look around, a baffled expression fixed on his face. They were on a cliff somewhere, lush green grass covering the top where they sat. A deep indigo sky and white moon hung above their heads. There was no sound around them at all. The air was clean and fresh, the breeze utterly soothing when combined with the warm atmosphere. Where are we, Sonic? The fox asked, turning towards the hedgehog who sat up next to him suddenly. Tails was pinned to the ground with a yelp as Sonic climbed on top of him. We're right where you want us to be, he answered, laying his face inches above the giggling kitsunes. Tails rolled his eyes. Jeez, Sonic, how recording can you get? Stop that! You think it's really romantic. Tails relaxed as Sonic lowered his head to kiss the fox. Their arms were wrapped around each other tightly. Tails sighed happily when Sonic pulled away, and the two remained like that, staring into each other's eyes. Tails was captivated by Sonic's stunning emerald green orbs that seemed to glow in the darkness. Eventually they broke their gaze, and Sonic rolled back over to the side, and Tail nuzzling his side and closing his eyes. I love you, Sonic, Tails whispered as the hedgehog stroked his head lovingly. Soon the stroking stopped and everything seemed quiet. Sonic? The kitsune opened his eyes again, Sonic no longer by his side. The grass lay flat beside him to show where the hedgehog had previously been sitting, but the blue teenager was nowhere to be seen. Tails suddenly noticed a golden orange glowing in the distance. He squinted to try to work it out what it was. It looked like fire. An orange orb separated from the rest of the glow, flying through the air towards Tails. He jumped out of the way as it landed on the grass. He turned to see it was fire, a stick burning with fire on the end. For a moment it simply lay at his feet, flickering gently. But then it burst, flaring up like a huge fire, like a wall in front of him. He could feel the heat on his face. He could hear shouting. Kill him! Someone shouted and they all started chanting it, hundreds of people walking through the fire like it was smoke. Wait! Tails screamed. Why are you trying to kill me? I didn't do anything wrong. He kissed me! Sonic spat, appearing at the head of the crowd. Sonic, wait, it wasn't like that. You know it wasn't. Sonic scowled, throwing a broken brick at the fox. It narrowly missed his head, flying over him as he ducked out of the way. Tails gasped as more bricks, rocks, and fireballs were hurled his way. The kit turned and ran away, fast as he could, his feet pounding on the ground in tune with his heart hammering against his chest. Sonic was close behind him, the others not far behind Sonic. A large brick suddenly slammed in the back of Tails' head, making him stumble. His head throbbing with pain, but he refused to let the pain and dizziness take over. He had to keep running. Tails froze. He'd come to the edge of a cliff. Below was a black emptiness of nothing. There was this place, wherever it was. Stopped being a beautiful, romantic place and became a death trap. Tails could either die through this homophobic mob or by jumping off this cliff. And then he wouldn't be killed exactly, unless they counted himself as a murderer. This is a dream, Tails muttered to himself, so nothing can hurt me, although that brick did. If I just stand here, they can't hurt me. They can't. I'll wake up any minute now. Another brick was hurtling towards him. It hit him square in the back of the head. The impact made him lose his balance, and he staggered on the spot before falling over the edge. Hurtling over the cliff into the emptiness, falling and falling and falling, until he hit his bedroom floor with a thud, waking up instantly. Tails didn't bother to pick himself up. He remained on the floor, curling himself into a ball, his body shaking with suppressed sobs. The dreams he had had before about Sonic kissing him, all those other things had come true yesterday. So what's to say this new dream wouldn't come true as well?